Hello, welcome to Counseling According to the Word. I'm Dr. Kitay, and I'm the Director of Grace Christian Counseling Ministries located in Houston, Texas. Our ministry is dedicated to a twofold purpose. Number one, we provide counseling from a biblical Christian viewpoint. Number two, we teach classes for those who wish to become certified Christian counselors. So not only do we counsel, we provide training. This show will be a mixture of both. We'll talk about relationship issues, counseling issues, and we'll help you understand the issues of life from a biblical Christian perspective. Now today we're going to be talking about relationships. Why do relationships fail? What are the components of relationships? And what do you need to know to counsel people who are having relationship problems? Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to the classroom where I'm teaching. We want to thank you for coming out today. Those of you who are studying to be counselors, we're going to teach on relationship from a counseling standpoint. For those of you who just want to learn more about the scriptures, learn more about people and human nature, we're going to be teaching about relationships from a counseling viewpoint. Everybody will profit by understanding this. Now, we are made to be relational people. You need to understand that. Look at all the one another needs that God has spoken in the Bible. Love one another, comfort one another, take care of one another, bear one another's burdens. The Bible over and over reinforces the fact that we are relational. Now, when somebody calls me for counseling because there's a breakdown in a relationship, when you're in a relationship and there seems to be a breaking down of the relationship, there's three things that you know automatically all the time. Let me give you those 3 points and then we'll analyze them. Number one, there's a lack of a satisfying, significant relationship. And the word significant is important. Number two, emotional needs are not being met correctly. And number three, there's a lie that one believes that dictates their behavior. Now let me explain about relationships. Relationships are defined as salvation. When Jesus saved you, what did He do? He entered into a relationship with you. He married the church, if you will. He began a personal relationship. Jesus did 4 things when He saved you, and these 4 things are essential for a satisfying relationship. Number one, Jesus said, I love you and I accept you. Just the way you are. You know, we love Him because He first loved us. Jesus said, I love you and I accept you. Number two, Jesus said, your past no longer matters to me. Number three, Jesus said, from this day forward, I will show you a better way to live. And number four, Jesus said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Now, let's think of a romantic relationship. If a young man was to call a girl and say, would you go out with me? There's the start of a potential relationship. And she's being a little coy and a little coquettish and says, I'm rather surprised that you called me. Why did you call me? And he says, because nobody else would go out with me. They were all busy. And I don't really like you that much, but you're better than being alone. Obviously, you have not laid the foundation for a long-term lasting relationship. If you continually bring up the past and you never forgive, you never put away, if you never move forward past mistakes, then you don't have the foundation of a relationship. A young man calls a girl up and she says, oh, well, I'm surprised you called me. He says, well, after all the things you did wrong in the past, I figured I know all your faults, so I might as well put up with you a little while longer. That's not conducive to a long-term, lasting, romantic relationship. If somebody calls up and says, let's go out, but I want you to know I'm a man of patterns. Monday will be Taco Bell, Tuesday will be Burger King, Wednesday will be church, Thursday will be band practice, Friday will be a movie, Saturday I'm sleeping all day and I may or may not call you, Sunday we go to church and after church I go home. And that's going to be our dating relationship for the next 9 years. Guess what? That's not conducive to a long-term lasting relationship. And then finally, Jesus said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Well, what would happen if you called somebody and you said, I believe God has brought us together. I believe We were brought together by the Holy Spirit. You are my soulmate. You are my life partner. It was written in the stars before we were born that we're to be together. And you say, I will never leave you nor forsake you, unless someone better or prettier comes along, and then I'm out of here. Once again, you don't have a good relationship. Now, there are a lot of people who know a lot of people, and they're always busy. They're going to parties, they're going to events, they're going to business meetings. They work, they have co-workers, but they're unhappy. Why? Because they don't have a satisfying, significant relationship. See, when people flitter from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, it's not always because they're so popular. It's because they never get past level 1, shallow. And so the talk is always shallow. It's always non-personal. It's never deep and intimate and sharing. There's no vulnerability. There's no revealing, because the relationship is not significant enough to talk at that level. Hi, how are you? How's work? What do you think of the weather? Hey, I wonder if the Astros are going to win any game this season. What about? Everything is so superficial. There's no sharing. There's no disclosure. There's no intimacy. So the first sign of a relationship problem, or a reason that a relationship is not developing, is because the key aspects of a relationship have not been properly laid. The foundation is weak. Number 1, Jesus said, I love you and I accept you. Number 2, he said, your past no longer matters to me. I'm going to wipe it out. I'm going to put it as far as from the east to the west. Number 3, he said, from this day forward, I'll show you a better way to live. And number 4, he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Now, if you have these 4 components, and they're building, and they're growing, and you have faith and confidence in these 4 things, then you have a secure relationship. You have a satisfying relationship. Do you love somebody so much that they are willing to open themselves and talk to you? Do you love somebody so much that they are confident to be themselves, and you see them at their best and at their worst and at their mediocre and at their confused state, and you still love them, and they know that you love them? If so, you have a satisfying relationship. We Christians have a satisfying relationship with God, not because we're perfect, but because God is perfect. Perfect love casts out fear. We can go to Him in prayer and confess our faults. We can go to Him and announce our fears and announce our confusions. And we can say what we want and don't want. Why? Because we are confident in the relationship that God has with us. Now, I want you to ponder that as we get ready for the second session. We're going to talk about the 6 emotional needs. Now, we're going to break away for a commercial. While they're doing the commercial and trying to raise a little bit of funding for their show and for our show, I'll take questions from the audience. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, relationships are not that difficult if you build on the principles of Jesus Christ Himself. Let's take a break now.
Grace Christian Counseling Ministries is dedicated to providing counseling in strict accordance with biblical principles and standards that will meet the needs of people spiritually, emotionally, and educationally. We believe that the Bible is sufficient to meet all of man's needs and provides the final authoritative guide for a relationship with God and other persons. If you're experiencing emotional pain, compassionate Christian counseling is available. Please call 832-419-0673 to discuss your situation and schedule an appointment.
Welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed the break, got rested and refreshed. Let's go into the second principle. Remember, principle number 1. Whenever relationships start to fail, it's because the 4 key components of a relationship are not present, or one or more of the 4 key components are not present. Number 2,